Hey there. Welcome to week two, episode two of Unruly by Nature. And today we're going to talk about don't know what. We're just going
Whatever
to
comes
have
up.
Let's
a
see.
we're going to have a word salad exploration and it's going to be fantastic. But we do every something every week. And we bring in aromatics and Mother Nature into our studios. We live far away from one another, and it's a fun way to connect us through essential oils and aromatics. So today I have Greenland moss, also known as ledum.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
So
I've never smelt that before.
it's very earthy. So part of me wants to believe that we're going to have a more grounded conversation, but that's not. How about you, Sue? What do you have
I've
today?
actually got a hard result today. It was sitting on my thing and it's one I haven't used in a long time, put it that way, but it's really lovely. It's orange blossom.
Ooh.
And it's just neroli. Yeah, and it's just beautiful. It's just such a fresh, lovely, gentle scent. Very
Mm.
nice.
I love that you've
Lovely.
sprayed it on yourself, whereas Kim, you haven't rubbed yourself in the moss.
Why not? It smells like dirty socks.
I feel
To
like I
bathe in
want to
it like an
s
aftershave.
scratch and sniff. Is it like I want to tell me about the moss because I'm jealous because I've never smelt it before.
Oh, it's very interesting. Ledum is
I only
I've
know Ledum as a
seen it.
homeopathic
It's
remedy.
Oh, that's is that what
yes,
it is?
yes. What's the name?
Ah,
Oh my gosh, Ledum
that's
Groenland
for
Groenlandicum.
puncture wounds, isn't it?
Puncture,
Homeopathic
yes.
remedy.
We used to use that when Zam would get the hawthorn. She would get hawthorn. She would step on one almost every spring, and we would alternate this with that. And it's a great detoxifier of liver and kidneys and
Mm.
things like that. So it's very earthy smelling. So
Uh-huh.
it's like you're outside, think in the middle of the woods in the spring, walking
Gorgeous.
like just hiking through the mud and that, yeah, that mossy, oh, so good.
Mm. Oh gosh. Is it similar to violet leaf on any level?
Mm,
That can the de no, it's
No,
not
it's
that.
brighter. It's a
Okay.
brighter, like more kind of eye opener.
Mm.
Little spicier.
Right. I love
Violet
that.
leaf
I
smells
love
kind of
moss. When I walk into a forest in spring, like you say, Kim, I just want to lie down. I just want to lie down in it and curl up and it looks so soft and spongy and smells so good.
We've got, well, who's, is there anyone else in here?
how many of you are there?
That's probably really apt. Um, I've got peppermint,
Oh, love it.
which it's so, I don't know. I just, I love every part of it. I know it's such a simple, I don't want to say the word common, but it is. Everyone knows peppermint. But for me, I just, oh, it's like sitting on the top of a mountaintop and just the air is clear. It just completely clears because it's raining here today. It's the autumn is coming, and so it's the first day where I've been inside more, apart from this morning when I was out at the beach with Darcy, which is another story. But it for me, it's I like having fresh air. I like having the windows open, but when it's raining and you tend to be more in more, don't you, and cozying up and drinking hot chocolate. But the peppermint for me is just so clearing. It just completely opens, makes my eyes pop.
And can I tell you something? In this glass
Mm.
is homemade peppermint syrup that I made from peppermint in my garden with mixed with water.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
yeah, because I had a bit of a journey with peppermint last week, and I've got it growing fresh in my garden. And I actually wanted to do like create a herbal a plant essence from it. And then I put some just the leaves of it in a glass, and then let it with direct sunlight, and then drank it throughout the day. And it was so intense. It was so intense.
Mm.
So I decided to actually make a syrup with it. So here you buy the syrup sugar, as it were, and you mix it with boiling water, and then you put the whatever herbs you want in there, and you just let it sit for 24 hours, and then it becomes like a syrup that you would, a
Oh,
flavored syrup. So this is peppermint, and I did put some lime in it as well, some fresh lime,
ooh,
peppermint and
Mm.
lime syrup, and it's delicious.
I
It's
love love.
like a mojito, but
Mm.
without the
Mm.
alcohol.
Mm. Exactly.
Oh,
On
that
my
sounds
on my
delicious.
desk, that so I was downstairs before we jumped on the call, and I have a book. I don't have a bookshelf, but I have books, and I'm relatively minimalist, as you can see by my backdrop. I'm really minimalist, but I do like books, and I've got them all in one room, kind of piled up. But every so often, I'll grab a couple of books and I'll take them into a different room, maybe the lounge or into my office, and I don't ever read these books, but I just move them into different parts of the house. But not this morning, just now, I picked up this one, which is called Plants That Speak, Souls That Sing by Faye Johnson. Have you heard
Mm.
of it?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Ah, maybe I mentioned it on the course, but it's one of those books that I've picked up just the odd page, and she talks about journeying with plants. And it's just such a simple, beautiful book. But we all love doing that though, don't we? We all love doing the journeying with the plants. So is that what you did, Sue?
Yes, yes. So I spent a week. I decided to we were actually exploring in the little group that I'm running. We were exploring our essence, our own essence of finding our essence. And I brought in the plants because we talk about plants having an essence and animals having an essence, right? And we seem to recognize that. And we know that, with plant medicine, there is the flower essences. So how do they extract that and how do they decide? I read up on how do they decide what are the properties of that specific essence? What do you know what I mean? How do they decide what essence that plant has? So we, did a little exploration and I said, let's just choose a plant that's that pops up in our environment a lot, that seems to speak to us, and we'll decide our own sort of interpretation of what the essence of that plant is. So yes, I spent the week with peppermint from my garden. It was lovely.
Mm.
Wow. I love
It was
that. That's
beautiful, and what the things that really came to me from that were, it had this soft, gentle flower, and on the top this little purple flower, and the bees were very attracted to it. So it was full of bees, um, and it had this really stark, sharp, straight sort of stems, really sharp, straight stems, and these leaves jutting out from the side. And yet the flower on top was so gentle, and the flowers, as I said, the bees were really enjoying it. So for me, it was such a combination of grounded sturdiness and what's the word? Strength, and directness versus the beautiful simplicity and the beautiful softness and gentleness of the flower. So yeah,
Mm.
making it all one, coming into one. And that was me, for my personal essence, that's part of me as well. I've got sides of me that are really strong and powerful, and I've got other sides that are really gentle and nurturing. And it's all part of me.
I love that. I mean, I love journeying with like aromas and essences. And the thing that comes to me when I listen to both of you talk about peppermint is just that it's this connection to spirit that comes so clear because it's like it opens a highway of connection, but yet you're still down here and grounded, so you're not apt to, fly away like a kite.
Mhm.
Mm.
And so you can have that connection, but still be grounded in the essence of Mother Earth at the same time. And I think that is such a powerful way to, I mean, it's just such a powerful way to live every day
Mm.
in that way. Oh yeah, I love peppermint. It
Mhm.
isn't what I picked. I literally put my hand into my little kit today and Greenland moss came out. So,
Ah, all again so perfectly different. And that the bit that I love doing is when we all have the same oil
mm,
and plant, and then everyone, it's like sitting in a room, there are 10 people in the room, and one person comes in, and everyone will have a completely different experience of that very same person that's saying the same thing, wearing, that it's nothing has changed about that person, but everyone has a totally different experience. And that's the same with the essential oils. There may be some commonalities, of course, like, the airways popping open and the stomach making some digestive noises, but there will be really, really unique responses to that. And maybe that feeds into our first conversation about when we have what I learned to do with my students was when I was, and I still do it now, but when I send them their essential oils to get to know them, of course, they want to go straight in and work with the dogs. So I'll send them a bottle with no label on it. And some people really struggle with that because they want to know what it's called. And but the plant doesn't know it's called peppermint. Uh, We we came up, it doesn't know it's
right.
peppermint, like it's a human label. So when you take that label off, then they can just free explore it really freely without thinking they need to get it right.
Mm,
And that's the creative space, isn't it? And then because essential oils bypass the thalamus, don't they? And they help us access emotion immediately and all other stuff. Then all you kind of not your creative juices, not even that, but you're then tuned into all of your senses. So then you can get these images and these memories. And one of my students was inhaling wintergreen, I think it was, and it took her immediately to her dad being in hospital, which then brought up the grief that had been there. Well, probably not just from her dad, but from other beings. But so that, but someone else could have smelt wintergreen and had a completely different experience of it. So I think it's that individual journey when we connect with the aromatics that's really powerful rather than comparing ourselves and thinking. So when people do that sort of work, they're trying to looking for the answer, aren't they? They're going in, going, I need to know, you need to tell me, I need to. Whereas, as opposed to just being in that lovely, I'm just going to experience it and see what happens
I
state.
Yeah, and I mean, isn't that just like that's the thing though? It's that rigidity of what's supposed to. I should get this like everyone else. We talked about it last week, and it's just another example of that. And how it's like we're like directed almost to have these societal beliefs and constructs about things, right? Like you said, peppermint doesn't know it's peppermint.
Mhm.
It just knows it's out here amongst its like nature friends. We've labeled it, and so somebody like probably named it after like a dog or their mother-in-law or something. It's like we don't know how it got the label, but it's just I mean I love this conversation because in a way it's a conversation towards freedom and the freedom of expression to smell how it is for you. What comes into your mind? Because it's always perfect. And I just love that. I mean, I think maybe we next episode we bring the same oil. That would be fun.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And wouldn't it
Mhm.
be fascinating to see if people that listen if we guide them into, they don't have to have the oil,
Mm,
but they can connect energetically with the attention of that plant. So maybe we could guide them into that space and then bring that and then see what comes for them. That would be really cool.
that would be very cool.
That would satisfy us, wouldn't it? For
It
sure.
sure
Yes.
would.
Yeah, because you don't have to. Because when just before we did record, you said to me, Kim, what oil have you got? And I presented it to the screen, and then Sue, you kind of did something. You had a reaction as if you smelt it. But peppermint was the first oil. That was the first oil that opened me up. So when I was working in, when I finished my zoo pharmacognosy training with Caroline Ingraham, and I was working with clients in a I hired a room and I'd have the dog come in there. And this dog, oh, I just couldn't get to the bottom of anything he wanted. I just was going down the very logical, well, these are the symptoms, that's what he should be selecting. And he just didn't engage with anything at all. And then suddenly, even though all of the oils were sat next to me, suddenly all I could smell was peppermint. And I thought, oh, well, I didn't tell the lady this. I just was like, I could just smell it. And that's what he selected. So that was my first experience of intuiting information and following it through and then getting the confirmation back from the dog. That was like a level up for me. So I didn't then, from that point forward, run Zoom pharmacognosy sessions in the same way. I was no longer looking through the books and trying to find the oil for dot, dot, dot. Yes, I was doing that a little bit, but probably 1%. The rest of it, I just would see what would come through and experiment. And it happened another time in a workshop, and they were often quite pressured situations because I put myself in a room with 10, 14 people that had come to learn about zoo pharmacognosy. And of course, at the time, I'm thinking, well, I need to show them what it is. So the dog needs to demonstrate it. So when the dog doesn't demonstrate it perfectly, I would be thinking, oh no, they've paid for this workshop and they're not getting what they think they've paid for. And so I mean, I was really out of my comfort zone, but those were a game changer for me because I had to listen to what was coming in from the dog, even though I wasn't aware if that's what I was doing. So I think she was a Romanian rescue, and the dog again wasn't selecting anything. Yes, it was in a room with full of strangers, and we're on chairs, and it's a very formal situation. But the word neroli popped into my head as soon as I got the word. The dog, for the first time in half an hour, came up to me. And then, so I got the bottle out, and that's what she worked with. That's what she lay down with. So where did that information come from? Was it from the dog? What, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Was it directly from the dog? Did I channel it? Who cares? Who knows? But the point was, I got the feedback in the moment when the dog selected it. So it was almost like everything became so much easier. Like, how many times do people say to me, I don't know which oil to offer my dog? Just play with them. Just experiment. They're not going to they don't have a tick list. They're not going to put you in the dunce corner with a hat on, which is, I think, what we think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, I love that, Rachel. And I mean that was the crux of your course, wasn't it, that we did? Was so much about letting go of the expectations and just going in there with using some intuition, guided by the dog, guided by just the moment, the person that's in the room, etc., and letting go of the expectations of the person as well, right? Because we go in there thinking, well, the person wants to see X, Y, Z, and they've come to you saying, my dog has got X, Y, Z symptoms, therefore my dog should be choosing something for those specific symptoms, right? So it's engaging in a whole new conversation around that. And I remember that came up with you. It was about opening up conversations. That's what I used to love that you said. And that's what I go in with my sessions now. I said, we're just going to open up conversations and see where it goes versus let's try this because might need this for this symptom, etc. So this is, yeah, a totally different way of doing it versus, the technical route of the traditional, should we say, traditional zoo farmer.
I I mean, I love where this is going. My mind's going in 100 different places. It's great because it like pulls us back into perspective, right? Like I'm not saying like that I don't do this, but like when we sign on with a client and we have them fill out that big paperwork, it's right, it's their perspective. I don't care if it's behavior or a health related concern. It's like the person's perspective, and it's only what they see. Because most likely the thing that I notice is that, I know how closed my awareness was and how I've discovered things bits at a time to open me up. So, we know, and so you can probably speak to this too through your career as behavior, that like when people come and they say my dog's reactive or this or this or this, we all know it could be something that's pain or whatever. So when we get those intuitive hits, it's an absolute must to listen to those in a way. And I remember I had the one case study when I was doing the zoo pharma, and it's like this dog just was, I mean, his nose in the plastic bag and he's pulling things out, and I had put in a sample that I had been given, and I don't remember what, I think it was wild vetiver maybe. But this dog was nuts, and the lady was completely skeptical, and I'm panicking because I don't trust in my skills quite yet, and I'm learning, and it was the best lesson I've ever been given. And she's like, my dog never settles down. This is how he is 24/7. And she was that way, right? This is how my dog is. This is 24/7. He never settles down. He's just constantly getting into trouble. I mean, there was no breaths happening. And I pulled out this wild vetiver, and all I did was open the cap, and the dog lay down and fell asleep. I vacuumed up the room that I was renting. The dog's out like a light, and the lady's like, she never came back.
Maybe she didn't like it.
It was no, she did because she was a behavior trainer. So she hated it because she hadn't been able to like find anything, but the dog just needed everyone to take a chill. And I had to, right? It was a big lesson about the energy that I bring into a session. And so I had to find my way into how to be grounded, because I can be a not grounded person. I can like go full like nutball, like at times just excited usually, but I mean, so it's like, how do you bring yourself into this space that it seems like lifetimes ago. But I'm sure, Sue, that you've seen it a million times with clients that bring dogs that they say is this, but it's really something. And
So,
that, how did you like open yourself up?
yeah, yeah. So definitely, definitely. And I was just saying to Rachel, actually something that I wanted to chat about today was because Charlie had come up. So Charlie is a very, shall we say, demanding dog. So like you said, you go into, very often I get called out for behavior. My dog is demanding. They are controlling. They never stop controlling me. They're constantly demanding my attention, and they can't settle. So, that's a very common thing that you kind of called out for, right? And I had to have a good giggle about it because I thought about my dog Charlie. Layla is very undemanding as far as it goes. Charlie will start in the morning. He starts when I get up in the morning. The first thing he wants to do is start licking me from head to toe. He wants to lick me, and I don't
Oh,
like being licked. But I
oh,
understand that it's very sweet and very endearing that he wants to wake me up. So I kind of just stick my foot out the corner and he licks until I just can't take it anymore. And then I say, stop, 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 enough, enough, enough. And then it goes on for breakfast. Like he'll say it's breakfast time, and he'll come up to me and he shoves his whole body against me, and it looks like he's demanding my attention to be cuddled or petted or whatever. But what he really does is I sort of pet him for 2 minutes, and then he walks off just out of my reach. And then he looks back, and then he looks back, and then he stares at me. And then I said, "Well, what do you want?" And then the moment I move on my chair, he runs to the kitchen, right? So, like, yes, it's breakfast time. So you know, and you could so easily say this dog is demanding because he'll do that. And I'll say, not right now. It's like, he'll start this like an hour before mealtime, and he will start his things. And then and then he does the border collie stare at the door. He stands at the door and he just stares at you, and you just feel this energy coming towards you, like this.
We're laughing because it's not our dog.
It's intense. It's hugely intense. And this is a typical another one that he does is where I get up and I walk to go and do something, and he comes and he stands in front of me. He blocks me. He just stands dead in front of me and he doesn't move. And I'm like, get up my way. I'm trying to get to this room or that room or trying to do something. And he's just like looks back as like these puppy dog eyes, like, oh. And I'm like, that kind of behavior, so often the perspective of the person is that my dog's controlling me. He's doesn't, constantly seeking my attention. All of those, those labels that they would give. And they straight away say, well, we don't give our dogs what they want in the moment, because that teaches them that they're going to be like brats. They can't have everything they want, because then they become the boss in the house. They become dominant. And this is such a human thing. It's such a human perspective. And when I looked at it and I thought, okay, let me look at it from Charlie's point of view, right? What might be going on there? So yes, there's some breed specifics going in there. He's got his border collie stare, and he likes to herd me and control my movements because it's fun. It's fun. And the other thing is he is freaking creative in the way he gets my attention. He comes up with all sorts of things to get my attention, and he doesn't let up. He's so persistent. He doesn't take no for an answer. And if I were to put that advice on that trainer advice, like don't give him what he wants, believe me, his behavior would intensify, because he's desperately he's going to carry on finding ways to get his message across. He's not going to give up and lie down like another dog might. So it's this whole perspective shift, and now it's so funny because he also, people might say he's very impatient. Well, I think he's got the patience of a saint, because he'll come and he'll ask me, can we have dinner now? And I'll say, no, my thing is I always say 5 minutes, give me 5 minutes. And then he sighs and he lies down, and 5 minutes later he'll be back again saying, is it dinner time now? And I'll say, nope. 5 minutes, and he'll go and lie down, and 5 minutes later he'll be back again. He's incredibly patient, incredibly, I think, creative in his ways and persistence. So yeah, that's just a shifting perspective there, Kim. So many people will come in thinking the dog is doing something from a human's perspective, which is usually, something wrong in their perspective. But look at it from the dog's perspective. It could be 1,000 other things. But if you know your dog, it's for him, it's just that's who he is. It's not going to change. It's not something I'm going to try and change either, right? It's just that's our relationship. And sometimes I really do get annoyed. Sometimes I say this, you're a pain in the ass, Charlie. And he wags his tail and says, yay, I got my message across. So yeah, that's my bit on perspective today. Who's going to take it from there?
I was waiting. That's so funny. I'm looking at Kim going, is Kim going?
I mean, we have Django who's a little bit the same, but like he would never bark to go out when we adopted him. And so we put a cowbell on the door to ring, and it's now become his butler bell. So it's the same thing, and we fell for it for, I mean, it used to annoy us, and then we started, like, it turned into a game, and he's 12 now, so it's just as I've shifted and, like, relaxed in my rigidity around my life, so has he, because now it's like he rings it for food, he rings it to go out, he rings it, and he was not like the easiest dog to, like, potty train to go outside. And so he would ring the bell and go out and do nothing. He would ring the bell and go out and do nothing. He would, but he likes ringing it. So he'll just walk by it and he'll give it a nose, and it doesn't mean anything. And so it's like it's like almost like, he's the church, like he's like the cathedral bell that you hear when you're, like, in Italy. It's dinner time. It's time to go sit on the couch. It's time for you to do dishes. It's like he's just always giving us these indications, and, like, thank you, or not, he'll know that he's just getting under our skin, because he'll ring it, and then you look at him, he looks at you, like, from the top of his head, and then he just goes, and it's almost creepy. But then it's like, we don't believe you. And so it's become like, now it's a game, and it's a fun game. Like the licking, I guess, when he wakes you up licking, it's like they just know how. And to me, it's like, I almost look at it like, how we play hide and seek, or maybe we play like a sniff game in the woods, like, find the scent or whatever. I almost think that sometimes they're creating imaginative games for us. That's what
That's
it
cool.
feels like. And it's like they want us to play with them, and it's an invitation,
Mm.
depending on how we choose to see it.
When you say that, Kim, I'm just going to jump in because before we were on here, I had an animal communication session, and like all dogs, they're just looking for connection. So sometimes their behavior is really loud because that's what they've learned to do. That's their way as a different species to get our attention, and that works every time. Oh, I've lost my thread. That's hilarious. Where was it going with
You were
that?
talking about the client that you just had, an animal communication session you just had before you jumped
Yeah.
on.
And then I went off on a tangent. I've completely lost my thread.
We were talking about bell ringing and
Bell ringing and
licking and
oh yes, exchange. That was it. Thanks. Thanks, ladies. That's why I need you here to bring me back. And yeah, so anyway, the dog would do certain things to get a reaction from her. And so when you were talking, Kim, I just got this image of, how sometimes in your relationship, and I think maybe more with women, we're quite good at kind of keeping it under wraps, aren't we? We're quite good at controlling our irritation, frustration, anger, whatever it is. And I know that my partner and I are quite similar in nature. And I know if I'm starting to feel irritated or irritable, and it used to be unconscious, but now I'm aware of it, I'll poke the bear a little bit. And then then Kim's like, yeah, me too. Then that gets a reaction. And then it's like a release from them. And then you feel the release too. So I feel like our dogs do that too. I feel that they're so in tune with our emotions that I'm not saying they're consciously doing this. They're not sitting there plotting, but I feel that's part of their, like, who they are naturally. Like, if I do this, what's the reaction? If I do that, what is the reaction? So because they're constantly experimenting, aren't they? And I see that with Darcy all the time, particularly outside. But I feel like that's part of the partnership is they help us. And again, I don't think they're consciously doing it, but they help us release something that we've been trying to keep under wraps. And yeah, so in this session, I totally got that the guardian was losing their shit at certain points. But the dog didn't take it on. They were just like, great, right? Can we play now? It was just no guilt about it. They weren't cowering in the corner. Chances are they probably felt that person had been tense for 10 days, 10 months, 10 years, and they were just like, if I just do that. And then, because then we feel relieved, don't we, afterwards, after we've had that release. So I wonder if that's sometimes going on. I know with Darcy, I find her a very easy character. I find her very easy to be around. But our previous dog, Cosmo, I found him really challenging and he took me on a very uncomfortable, difficult journey. He was, I mean, I love him. I love him and he's in spirit now, but it was tricky because he was on the go all the time. I'd never had a dog like that just didn't stop until I started to understand what he was saying and started to rather, and again, like you, Kim, saying, having more flexibility and freedom and moving and leaning into more about what they're saying. Once I gave him those little outlets, then I found that it shifted. But I've lost my thread now. I'm going to put this peppermint away. Maybe that's I did say I'm not very good at closing things. I just sent out. I just throw it all out there. Maybe that's it. It's the exchange. Over to you. I'm throwing the ball. It's like the dog throwing the ball, and they're like looking at you like, "You're going to do something with it?"
Invitation.
Yeah, it's like the dog, like Charlie does, like many dogs do. Like go and hide the ball under the couch so that the person has to get up and get the ball under the couch and throw. And then the moment you give it to them, they put it straight under the couch again. It's just like so cool. We can get the human to get up and move.
It's so clever, isn't it?
They
It's
are.
so
They are
clever.
so clever. And they watch. They are watching our every move all day long. And it's just, I mean, it's amazing. They have such imagination.
And
Not
what
all dogs, not all dogs. Layla likes to just, she's my keeper. She just lies down. As long as she's close to me, 24/7, she's okay. That's all she needs, you know. As soon as we could say get up and walk or food time, yeah, sure, she gets happy, but she just doesn't have the same character and the same energy. And again, you know, every dog is different, and that's okay. That's good. It's good. We are all different. Why can't they be too?
how much do you recognize that they know what you're saying? Like for example, when I walked Darcy this morning, it was absolutely chucking it down with rain, and I thought, great, because that means I can go to the beach, I can go to the place I would like to go, but it's normally really busy. So we got out the car, and I'd mapped out in my head the route we were going to do, which was just over this hill and then down across the blah, through it down the beach and then back to the car. But once I got there, the rain really started to come down, and I thought, I don't know that I fancy doing it. Actually, maybe we'll just shortcut it. But Darcy wasn't having it. She's like, no, no. And she went the exact, and even at the second point where I said, okay, we could go to the beach, but we should probably just head back to the car because it's really raining now. And she just was like, no, we're going to the beach, mum. Like but she mapped out the exact route that I had in my head that we were going to do. So how, like, I know, Kim, you're a professional animal communicator. So oh, you're like, what? Who said that? Who gave me that? Shh, don't tell anybody. But how much? I mean, even this is what I do as a service, animal communication, but I still sometimes question, like, is she really hearing and receiving all of it? But they do. They absolutely do. It's just that we don't recognize it all the time.
I mean, that's just, yeah, is so true. And I think, going back to like your stories, I think it goes back to we don't know that we don't know. Like we know certain things and then we don't know certain things, but there's this whole world of things that we don't even know that we don't know.
Uh,
And we've had that conversation before. And I think our animals, like there's some, I read some sciencey thing, right? Like about how the brain works. And it's like, first of all, like that, like our fascia is actually the thing that puts the messages out, because it moves much faster. And like this universal connection's almost like our body's fascia, like our thumbprints almost looks like the inside trunk of a tree or whatever. Nice.
thumbs up.
And it's like, so I think there's this consciousness, and I believe it's like almost an evolutionary thing, because life with our dogs has changed so dramatically over, if you look back 50 years or 100 years, and how we didn't have all the dog sports or the therapy or I mean, we actually have things that our dogs do now that are so much like us. They go to this doctor and this doctor and this doctor. And I mean, our dog, when we were a kid, never went to the vet.
Mhm.
Maybe every 3 years for the mandatory rabies shot, right? But that would have been about it. And I look at Zori knows when I'm upset before I do. Zam always knew a storm was coming before I do, right? And that makes sense because there's pressure changes. But I wonder, do our emotions, right? We know they ripple out. Do we create like barometric pressure changes in an environment that lets our dogs know that we have a specific emotion? Because she and Django used to fight. I mean, bloody fight. And
Mhm.
just, it tore me up. And when I get angry, I cry. And there was, I mean, this is just, there was one time it was so bad, I asked her if she didn't want to live with us anymore because I
Mhm.
was at my wit's end, but I didn't realize at the time I was in between leaving my job. I hadn't made the decision to leave my previous job and I didn't understand how unhappy I was. And she kind of helped me see that. So her awareness to that is incredible. And now she'll come up and jump on my lap and put her head on my chest when she knows I'm going to be upset, but I wasn't in the moment upset. I was probably reading a book or doing some work or whatever. So it's like her perception, she's really shown me what's possible. But then we
Mhm.
think back, how many times do you think about going on a walk and your dog starts going apeshit because like they know, and it's not like we purposefully do it at different times of the day, like out of routine, like out of order. And so I think there's something in there that like we aren't seeing that they're perceiving, and that their awareness is just so good.
Mhm.
And that's kind of, yeah, I'm in
Yeah,
Mhm.
awe of it.
it is incredible. And I mean, there is proof now that we give off all sorts of neurochemicals, as it were, depending on our biology changes all the time, depending on what we're thinking, what we're feeling. Our biology changes. And it just dawned on me that of course our dogs would develop and continue to evolve this ability to read us because they rely on us for everything, right? They live in environments in our houses and our routines and our world that they rely on reading their person in order to keep themselves safe, to get what they need, to have their needs met, basically, right? So they've developed this, and I think it's evolving as we do. I think the generations of dogs that we have now in captivity, as it were, as pet dogs, I think their senses are really, really well evolved and continue to. And they have got a hyper sense. And like you said, Kim, even if you think of something, the dog might do it. But in that second of you thinking about it, I think even then we might make micro movements that the dog can actually see. So maybe it is a sense of the chemicals changing, but it also might be that I might put down my pen. I mean, they know perfectly when I'm on a call, the moment that they hear me say, okay, goodbye, they both stand up. So there is something that I do as well as what I'm saying in that moment. They know, I know she's going to get up next. And so if we think of going for a walk, we might start to say, okay, we're going to go for a walk soon. So I put my pen down or click something to turn something off or whatever it is. It's a micro movement that we're not even aware of, probably, that they can. I think that they are fully aware of. Like I said, I think my dogs are watching me 24/7. I feel watched.
Can I pull in on that's just I love what you said there because it's well it's so true, but it leads into when we don't mean it, that's what they pick up on. So something simple as we'll say to Darcy, we're gonna go for a walk now, and we'll pop her collar on, get the harness, and she won't move until we are actually physically about to leave the door because she knows we're a pair of flippity gibbets.
And you're going to
And
come
we'll be
back
like,
50 times.
we'll be like, oh, I'll be like, oh, I just need to go for a wee. Bex, oh, I'm just going to go for a wee. Oh, I think I've left my window. So it might take us like 10, 15 minutes, half. Oh, I'm just going to do a quick email. She's like, you don't mean it, yeah. Yeah. So she will sit and wait until, but that's one example. But I think another example is when people say things like, I don't want my dog on the bed. Or sorry, let me think of another one. Yeah, let's go with that one. I don't want my dog on the bed. You're in a couple, and the one person's saying, I don't want my dog on the bed. And they try all the training in the world, and the dog still always gets on the bed. I can guarantee there is someone in that relationship that really does want the dog on the bed and maybe doesn't want their partner on the bed. Like I'm just, that's a possibility. But they just know when we're bullshitting, no matter how much we've convinced ourselves. We'll be like, yeah, but I don't want them to do this, or I do want them. But there may be a tiny, tiny part of us that does or feels guilty. That's the big one. When I think we say, oh, I don't want to I want my dog to stop begging. And again, you can go to all the trainers and do all of the things to get that dog to not beg for food. And yeah, it could be that they're hungry and whatever. But if that person feels guilty every time they say no to their dog, that's what the dog is picking up on, that bit. And I see it with my partner all the time because there'll be some things I'm just like clearly boundaried. I'm like, no, she's not doing that. And I'm not bothered. I don't feel bad. Whereas my partner may be like, no, but she's like, oh, I feel bad for her. And then that's what Darcy picks up on.
Yeah, exactly that, Rachel. You're spot on. And I've got
That's why a
another,
lot of training doesn't work.
yeah, so I've got another example. A recent client of mine, she has a reactive dog. So a dog that likes to lunge and bark at other dogs and people when she's out on a walk. And he's a big dog, and he's big, and he's got a big loud voice. So he's quite scary when he does his little thing at the end of the leash. And I'd seen her a couple of times, and we'd been doing some exercises and things, and I'd helped her to sort of relax and what to do and keep our distance, etc. And then the one time, I'd seen her for a couple of sessions, and we were sitting down and chatting, and I said, I want you to be really honest with me. I said, is there some part of you that actually feels good that you have a dog that protects you and um, you know, shows gets other people out the way? Do you, because I know that you're a woman who lives on your own, and I know you love to walk in the forest. I said, is there a little bit of you that feels very protected by his behavior? And she straight away said yes. And it's that, exactly that. Like I said, it's that the dog's picking up. So she doesn't want the dog to do it in certain circumstances, but overall, she feels really confident and safe when she's walking her dog because he gives her that sense of safety that nobody's going to come near me. And that's really difficult because how do if the dog's picking up one thing and thinking that he's really just doing his best and doing his job, versus the person who, sorry, and on the other side, he's getting this real conflict because in some situations he's not allowed to do it, and in other situations she really wants him to do it. because it makes her feel safe. So, yeah, it's just another layer that we have to put in there for people to really understand. Like you said, what is the honesty behind that? Not what you think you need to do, but what is the deep honesty that goes on behind that?
I mean, that's $1 million question,
Mm.
It's
isn't it?
massive.
Because it's sometimes you don't want to know what it is, or you're just flat out unaware.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea, you know, I'm like a happy person. I typically have fun every single day. I would have told you I like didn't carry a whole lot of anger, but that can be so deep that we don't even know that we do. And then all of a sudden your dog starts helping you uncover this deeper layer that maybe the you today is ready to like listen to and be honest about, where the you a year ago, 2 years ago, or 5 years ago couldn't have possibly processed it in a way that would have been productively helping you remember, your purpose on this earth is to like really know you. Like our roles, I think, are to really know us, and I think our dogs are offering us that opportunity to really know us, and they help show us because they're so honest, you know. And I had somebody ask me once, what do you do? How do you handle when you get a bad animal communication, like something where something bad happened, right? Like an abused dog or something. And I'm like, I don't typically attract that kind of client because I'm more like whatever. I just see that like the dogs are generally so grounded in who they are and they're in their individuality, and they understand, and they just bring in their challenges and they get it. And like we're trying to understand it. We somehow, and I don't know, I'm, only in this earth now, but I don't know when we like lost the ability to feel emotion, besides euphoria or joy or happiness. Like, how is it deemed not okay to be sad or grieving or devastated or angry? I mean, those are human emotions, yet we hide them, where our dogs just, I mean, if Zori gets mad at Django, it's not always about me. They're having their own experience. Sometimes he pisses her off, and that's their thing. I mean, and we just stay out of it. So, and I love this talk about micro movements and everything else. And then I want to bring in like heart math, because like we definitely have connections with people that are far away, and we feel, right, we think of someone and then you call them, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you called. Like this and this and this happened, and I really needed, I can't believe you called, right? And I think it's an attunement to listening and like not trusting, but believing that like when we get this intuitive hit, there's something. I had a bizarre, it was beautiful, um, moment. I took a walk the other day, and there's just a bird dropped all its feathers, like probably a hawk, dropped its feathers across our field. So I picked up several of them, were beautiful, and I brought them in. And the minute I walked in the house, I smelled cigarette smoke. And it's like I knew in a minute it was my dad was here. And it was just like so comforting on some level. I just was taking a beautiful walk with Zori out in the fields and picked up these feathers, but he was just like, hey, I'm here. And because I've never smoked. So that was like something that my senses were bringing. And I just don't deny those things anymore.
That's the bit, isn't it? It's not denying them, it's acknowledging them, and not when we use words like weird, strange, random, coincidence, it's that's like us sticking our fingers in our ears saying, I'm not listening. So it's catching when you say that, oh, that's a bit random. What it's not. It's just because we haven't acknowledged that feedback coming in yet. And it does, it's just practice. I feel, is noticing them and acknowledging them simply. You don't even need to go down a rabbit hole with it.
No.
You just be like, oh, interesting. Like this I've been sharing with you girls, ladies, let's call you girls, chicas.
I'm happy to
What
be
do
a
you want to be?
girl. I'm happy to be a girl.
Let's girls on Messenger that last week I hadn't consciously acknowledged that it was the anniversary of Bax's death. But on let's say the Thursday, because I can't remember the exact dates, we had all these dragonflies flying around the garden, and I stopped and I haven't seen dragonflies probably in a couple of years. And I was like, oh, aren't they really beautiful? Because they are really beautiful. And then a neighbour walked by and I said, oh, there's loads of dragonflies over here. She probably thought, and, but for me, it was really, really beautiful. And then the next day, so I acknowledged it, but didn't go down a rabbit hole. The next day, I just felt a little bit strange, a bit strange. And I took Darcy for a walk, which can be like flying a kangaroo on a kite at times, in a fun way. And I'm walking through our favourite field with lots of sheep, and she's conversing with a sheep, and it's just a perfect walk. And then I see two cyclists coming through quite fast, which for her is exciting. And I'm thinking, I don't really want to like be holding her while the cyclists go by because she could bounce and buck. So I think I'm going to pick up speed. I'm going to head back to the car. And I'm gently jogging and she's just next to me. And then one minute I'm upright, and then the next minute I'm in a heap on the floor, like my ankle, with that just that comedy view of a person's there and then they're not. I was just this heap on the floor and I'd gone over my ankle, and I just that feeling of like, and I hadn't really hurt myself. And Darcy just sat on me and she wouldn't move. And she's like, just stay here, just stay. There's nowhere to go, just stay here. And then I got home, and then you'd sent your playlist, Kim, and this one song came on, and I absolutely sobbed. I think it was the Pink song. I can't remember the name of it. It was about being the person in heaven. Will there be a bar there? I mean,
Mm.
Baxter didn't drink, as far as I'm aware, but the song spoke to my soul, and I literally hit the floor at home, and I thought, and then I went onto Facebook and anniversary of Bax's death. So I wasn't aware of it consciously, but it was, of course, an anniversary can bring back if there's any level of sadness sitting there. And it may not have been about Baxter. That was the catalyst. There's a crazy load of stuff going on in the world at the minute. But whatever it was, the dragonflies, the cyclists, Darcy sitting on me, I had to stop and sit with that, very uncomfortable. And I went downstairs and my partner was going out for the afternoon, and she's looking at me, and this isn't normal for me. I was just like, oh, absolutely. My face was a mess. And she could have said, oh, look at that pretty red. And I went, oh, just anything. And I just needed to do it. And then all afternoon, I was really quiet, really, really quiet, and just let that play out. But it's not dismissing it, it's acknowledging every moment. But it's hard to do when you have a busy life.
Mm.
And maybe that's why our dogs are being stubborn or loud or whatever it is. I mean, Darcy sitting on me, someone else may have thought, oh, she's being dominant, or, she's not wanting to go home. But it really felt like she was, let's just stop and feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Rachel. Our dogs really help us to come back, out of our busy lives and actually just, yeah, stop and smell the roses. Stop and just be. Stop and be present, right?
Mm.
They're so good at that. Um, yeah, I'm
And
not.
the whole time we're trying to change them and control them, we're missing that
Mm,
crazy wisdom that's there to be like, let's just do this. Let's play for a bit. Let's be present. Because I'm 50 now and I don't know where life is going. Like it's gone so quickly. But now we've got Darcy. She's such a play monkey. I yeah, there are things that she does that challenge me, like, bouncing around and like crazy, just being a crazy dog. But the richness that is there when I stop doing the distractions and the things and the business and the work and the blah, 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 human stuff, and I'm with her, like just tugging a sock or, watching her dig up a bamboo or rolling in a ball of wool. It's though that like and if we could do more of that, which is what the essential oils do, we're then more perceptive, we're more aware, we're more
open.
present, we
We're
open
open. Mm.
open.
Open's a great word. I love that. I mean, I love your story, Rachel, about the dog sitting on you because it is something, that we hear from someone. And the thing is, all these things that we learn, we just have to take the bits that fit us. But our dogs are always helping us. They're always helping us. And I mean, I now I lost you took my thread. But, I mean, they're always helping us. And my mom was up for the weekend visiting, and she was get like having a wee or something before she took off in the car, and I just like Zori came over to me and she's just staring at me, and I ended up on the floor rolling around and was just imitating her, and we were playing on the floor, and my mom comes down and she couldn't find me, and I we both popped our heads up at the same time, and she looked at me. I think she thought I was crazy. And I'm like, oh,
That's brilliant.
we were just having a play. And it doesn't, and that's the thing, right? Like, even if we can take like a few minutes from our busy life,
Mm.
I mean, and play or just sit and just, you know, you don't have to do anything. Just take a breath and enjoy. And I think you see our dogs do that all the time
Mm.
when they feel safe and they're in their place and they just are happy, and I could watch them all day long.
Yeah, isn't
Mm.
isn't it the best when you're sitting out in the garden and you watch them and you just see the little nose going and the ear twitching and the deep sigh and I just
Mm.
could watch that all day. It's the best
Mm.
TV. It's just watching them taking in their environment and sometimes they respond to it, sometimes they don't, but they're there, they're present and they're just doing their thing in that moment and responding to whatever arises in that moment. Imagine living like that. What a way.
Oh,
Cool.
W- There's a lady that we all know, Caroline. She's a zoopharmacognosy practitioner. And when you were talking then, Kim or Sue, I can't remember, what were you both talking at the same time? I've got this image of Caroline talking to, she works with a lot of rescue dogs and a lot
mm,
of dogs that have had really difficult lives and that are really, trying to cope in the world around them, and they potentially really shut down. And one thing that I remember her saying that she did was read stories to them.
mm,
Mm,
And it may sound silly, but like Darcy watches movies with us.
mm-hmm.
Like they take in so much information from even us reading a story. It's a nurturing thing, isn't it? Like the inflection of your voice and how that person feels when they're reading a story. That can be such a simple, we're often in a rush to take the dogs that are in those traumatic situations and try and expose them to the world and get them confident again. But actually, often what they need is not to do anything, is just someone to be with them. And that's when the oils are great too. Is just for someone to open a book and say, like, I'm going to read you some lines from this, or have a look at this, or have a smell of this. And, they just want someone to sit with them and be with them, feel them, and then watch what they're watching. Even if they're sat cowering in the corner of a room, if they'll allow you, sit and feel what they're feeling without feeling sorry for them or trying to change their experience. You're just sitting with them and saying, I get it. It's shit right now. You're really terrified. You're really scared, and I really get it. And I'm here for you. And that's it. That sometimes is it. I don't know where I'm going with this story, but I felt it really needed telling. Maybe there are some people that have dogs that have got a huge amount of fear, and their lives feel really small, and they look at other people and think, oh wow, they're doing, they go on social media and they've got people with dogs with backpacks and they're jumping out of aeroplanes and their dog's sat in a corner shaking. But that's okay, that's where they are, because that's part of their journey. And sometimes we have to make life really, really small and bring in what richness they can take at that time, what medicine they need. So I guess I was just thinking that for people that are listening to this, that I think even if you have a dog that is confident and gregarious, there may be a point when suddenly they're injured. And then that can be like, oh no, like we've gone from this life of having everything to now suddenly they're on rest and their legs in a. It's the really simple little things that our dogs not even ask of us, but we can do for them.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful thing, Rachel, is like you said, just being with them, just learning to just be with them. We don't have to entertain them, we don't have to do things with them all the time. Sometimes it's just simply being in their presence, like you said, and just acknowledging them. But that
Mm.
also leads me to something that's so, so difficult for us as humans, is to see our dogs in some kind of discomfort, like in fear or pain or whatever, and not be wanting to, instead of, like you said, just sit there and say, I get it, you're in pain and this discomfort, I get that, and I'm here for you. We want to go in there and fix it. We want to take the pain away. We want to take their suffering away because we can't stand to see them. We attach so much, we attach ourselves to the emotion that we believe that they're experiencing, um, that actually prevents that animal from actually having their own experience, because we wanting to go in there and change it, and to do anything we can to what we believe is to stop the animal from suffering, but it's also our own suffering that we're trying to avoid, isn't it? And it's a
Mm.
hard one. It's not an easy
Yeah.
thing to do, especially as many people who have animals in their lives are very empathetic themselves, and easily tap into the emotions of others. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up as well, because I know it's not easy for some people to
Mm-mm.
see their dog in a fearful state or pain or whatever it is, and not wanting to jump in and do something about it and fix it and change it, which puts a lot of
Mm.
pressure on the situation too.
Mm.
Mm. And again, that's where I suppose the oils and the botanicals are just such a, for me, it's like a third party coming in, um, to just break that all down, doesn't it? They just know how to just come in and weave their magic and somehow bring some kind of support or some kind of um, stability to the situation sometimes, or a release if
Mm.
needed. A release if needed. Mm.
Mm. Definitely. Which means we've come full circle, right? Back to the plants.
Yeah.
We have.
Boom.
Boom.
I mean,
We
in
have a
that, I
shout.
mean, in that last bit, like, just it stands on its own, Sue. It really
Mm.
does. Like, just a few seconds of silence.
Mm.
Mm.
a sniff.
Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could pass them around?
Here we
So,
go.
like, I like that would be really. Oh, I don't know where my screen is. There it is. That'd be there.
Oh,
Ah,
ladies, I think this is a wrap. I think it's
I think
beautiful.
it's
I
a
think we've
wrap.
come full circle again. As you said, the plants have brought us full circle. Um,
Yeah,
I think it's a wrap for this time. What do you say, girls?
I think that's a perfect
Good.
ending.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. You've
Thank.
graduated from girls to ladies.
Wow.
Thanks,
Oh,
Rachel.
All in 5 minutes?
you've evolved.
What did
That
I
was
do?
quick.
Like Kim says, we'll come into the session, we'll be different when we come out of the session, and that's what's happened.
Exactly.
We evolve. We got new titles.
Thank you for being
Ladies,
here.
it's always a pleasure. Thank you. And I look
Thank
forward
you.
to the next one. Let's keep this magic going. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
You ladies are awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, ditto. Bye.
Bye bye.